later, and then of course they advertised it as the picture the Russians couldn't stop.
Okay, start the time.
All right. Well, Robert Vaughn, it is very nice to see you. We meet every 15 years.
I meet a lot of people every 15 years.
But truly, I, of course, have seen you on television and in a number of films. And now we're seeing you in Superman 3. And what a mean cat you turn out to be in Superman.
Yeah, I haven't seen it yet. Everybody that's interviewed me says the same thing, so I guess it has come off rather mean and evil. Of course, it was on paper to begin with. He was not a terribly attractive chap to begin with.
Yes, but when people find out that you're the guy who's trying to kill Superman, you know, it may not be safe for you to walk down the street.
Well, it's going to be very difficult on my 7-year-old son when he goes back to school in the fall after having all of his peers see the film during the summer, as I'm sure they will, and realize that he has to defend his daddy as the guy who tried to kill Superman. It's going to be a heavy duty for him.
How will you prepare him for this?
Well, I'm going to prepare him by having him see the film at least once. Next week he'll be seeing it for the first time, and I'm sure he'll want to see it after that.
Bob, I was wondering, as I was watching this film, of course, I'm sort of a Superman freak. I've seen all three of them and really enjoy all three of them. And don't ask me my favorite one. I just couldn't tell you. But I wondered, as I watched your performance, had Superman been offered to you in the very beginning?
Yes.
You find that funny?
Well, yes, that's unlikely, but go ahead.
But had it been offered to you, would you have taken it?
Oh, I'm sure I would have. I mean, there's no reason why it would have been. I wouldn't be physically right for it, but I mean, it certainly hasn't done anything detrimental to Christopher Reeve's life in any way. He has had an enormous number of opportunities outside of the Superman films to do good work in motion pictures. He's only 30 years old, and prior to that, he was working on soap opera and made a whole life for him. So certainly, yes, I would have taken it if I'd been offered it. Yeah.
In a sense, you've had a comparable thing for an actor because for so many years you were identified as Napoleon Solo, the man from U.N.C.L.E. And then, by golly, we saw it again here just a little bit ago. Now, did somebody have to twist your arm to do it this recent time?
Well, over the last 15 years, particularly in the last 5 years, people have been approaching me with scripts of The Man from U.N.C.L.E., so the Return of the Man from U.N.C.L.E., or The New Man from U.N.C.L.E., and so on, and none of the scripts were frankly very good, or they didn't capture the flavor of the old show. The fellow that wrote this script also produced it. His name is Michael Sloan. He was one of the head writers on Quincy and Kojak and McCloud and other shows. And I thought he got the spirit of the show as it was in the 60s into the script, and for that reason, David and I decided we would do it.
Had there been any time when you liked a script and David didn't? I mean, did you have trouble agreeing?
We both agreed that the stuff had been submitted to us was not up to par as far as we were concerned.
So what's going to happen now? Might you revive the whole thing?
Well, the package or the show itself is owned by MGM, and they only allotted this one use of the material to CBS. It swept the boards, as they said on Entertainment Tonight, in the ratings. It did very well for CBS. Whether they'll do more, either in movie form or in some sort of truncated television form, I don't know. But I will certainly be happy to do them if I'm free at the time.
Getting back to Superman 3, Richard Pryor, of course, is in this one. And I often wonder what it would be like working with I think of him as a stand-up comic, working with somebody like that. Do you have any different feeling toward him as an actor in a scene, knowing that he's a stand-up comic?
Well, if I may correct you, he does stand-up comedy, but basically he's an actor, and that's why he's so remarkably good on film as an actor. Even in his nightclub act, he is telling stories in character. He's not a Bob Hope one-liner, or he's not a Mort Saul or anything like that. He's not that kind of stand-up comic. And because he's such a fine actor, it's a pleasure to work with him. More importantly, he is so improvisatory that every scene is different, and you've got to pay attention, like you pay attention when you're interviewing somebody, to what he's going to do, so you can respond appropriately in that give and take. And for me, that's great fun. I've only worked with one other actor like that, and that's Jason Robards, who has nothing to do with comedy whatsoever, but who works basically in drama the same way as Richard does in comedy. He is always different and always right.
Do you ever improvise that way yourself?
I have with Richard and I have with Jason, but most of the time you can't do it alone. You know, you've got to have somebody else doing it with you. Otherwise, you're kind of out in left field. And you often scare other actors if you do. You start to get too improvisatory yourself. I don't like to scare actors.
Directors sometimes don't like that.
They usually don't. As I said, many directors really feel actors get in the way of their picture. They rather not have actors in pictures. But some, like Blake Edwards, love actors and give them free rein and would like them to improvise.
I'm glad you brought up Blake Edwards because, of course, you were in SOB. And that was a film that really just infuriated the film Colony.
And they all saw it.
I bet
didn't
they
infuriate
did.
them enough to not see it.
Trying to figure out who was
Yeah,
who.
exactly.
But then he comes along with Victor Victoria and he gets all those wonderful nominations. Now, the question is this, Bob. Did it surprise you that Hollywood, you know, gave him his due with all those nominations after they were so mad about SOB?
Hollywood is strange in that sense. They very often will overlook personal animosity when they consider the work to be good. And sometimes they'll overlook the work for personal animosity, too. But more often than not, they will be able to, even, I mean, at the height of Jane Fonda's anti-war involvement, she won the Academy Award, so that's a good example. Hollywood will tend to reward good work and put aside other problems.
Well, that's one up for Hollywood.
Yeah,
then.
at
Okay.
last.
Bob, very nice to see you again. I remember so well meeting you in Prague and that whole wonderful experience, frightening though it was.
Yeah.
And it's nice to meet you on friendlier terms here in New York City. Thank you
That's
so
right.
much.
It's not
Lovely
nearly as
to see
frightening
you.
in New York City as it is in Prague when Russians invade.
Yes. Okay. Now,
Look at Howard.
okay. Now, cut me about here. And is our background giving us away? Do we need to move flowers or anything? We're okay? All right. So I'll do some reactions and then questions, okay? Okay, sound please. If it had been offered to you originally, might you have done Superman? You find that funny? Working with Richard Pryor, because he is a comic, is it quite a lot different than working with people who are just basically actors? How will you prepare your little 7-year-old son then for this? Here you are, the man out to kill Superman. Do you have plans to do more uncles? How does it happen that it took so long for you and David McCallum to do another Man from U.N.C.L.E.? Did it surprise you that Victor Victoria got all those nominations after the Hollywood community was so against Blake Edwards for SOB? Okay, that should do it. Thank you.